Welcome to this presentation about an Arbortext custom solution we implemented for Merrill Corporation. This is an extended recorded version of the presentation we gave at the Arbortext EMEIA Conference on December the 3rd and 4th, 2019. tformat have been evolved with APP 3B2, now named Arbortext Layout Developer, for over 23 years. For the Arbortext wider solution for over 15 years. We're a PTC sub-reseller with partners Datacopy for over 10 years, and we've held our own community events for over 10 years. Our core offerings are software and solutions around legislative, STM, financial, tech doc and academic. We create customizations and add-ons for existing solutions. For example, in our legislative field, we had an editor APP dual screen live link, where you can place the cursor in one application, it will move in the other, and vice versa, effectively using the APP typesetting environment as a live print preview for the XML editor. We also created some style sheet extensions and an existing style sheet to enable the APP float features. Just two examples. And we offer tailored Arbortext training, APP training and team mentoring. So this presentation is really a showcase of some of the strengths of APP, beyond XML, beyond styler, and into a highly customized industry deployment with some customized add-ons. The financial typesetting industry requires professionally typeset documents, and it also requires comparison proofs between two versions of these documents for the European regulators to see alterations between submissions. Accuracy and speed are of the utmost importance. Any inaccurate information can cause serious problems for law firms who are working under extreme time pressure to prepare and submit documents. Traditionally, the customer used word comparison, using Word files generated from the standing DataLogix Pager typesetting platform to create comparison PDFs. However, these did not always closely mirror the typeset document, and there was some lack of control, and often issues with the regulators. The process was also extremely time prohibitive and open to human error, and even the end comparison file had to be manually adjusted. So the customers started discussions with tformat back in 2014 with a view to address this situation, looking at the comparison and also the typesetting solution to see what we could do to help them. We started by having a series of feasibility studies. We looked at how we could implement our existing comparison engine with the DataLogix Pager system. We looked at how this could be done on a system that was no longer maintained, and we had to consider the implications of trying to integrate our comparison engine to a system that had never been done before, and if the higher cost of this could be prohibitive. We also looked at options of deploying new. Why would implementing APP be any different? What do the local competitors use? Well, 3B2 had been around in London financial typesetting for over 25 years and in place with a number of competitors, so its pedigree as a contender was not in doubt. We focused on convincing the customer that APP was the best direction, knowing the capabilities of the newer version that we could implement with our comparison engine. The customer also asked us to do a series of studies in APP to see if it could deliver the kind of graphical layouts and requirements of the wider global Merrill solution. So what were the key pain points for the customer? Essentially, they needed a better comparison solution. The other tools they looked at were not quite enough. The word compare wasn't giving them the results they wanted, and the Delta XML solution they looked at with XPP didn't work for them at the time. The typesetting system they had was slow and archaic, and the platform they were using was no longer maintained. They also wanted to streamline the word round-trip conversion, transforming from Word into the typeset environment and then back out to Word for the lawyers. So we started discussions about extracting the full requirements. After numerous on-site visits, writing the scope of work and technical specifications for the customer, agreeing contracts, and a great deal of compromise, we found an agreement to proceed. So the high-level customer requirements included handle mixed quality MS Word source data and to be able to convert this quickly and cleanly into the typesetting environment. Typeset that data professionally to either the customers or in-house style. They wanted to be able to have full manual control of the typesetting process, and where possible have semi-automated or fully automated features and pagination control. They wanted to be able to control accurate black lining levels, sometimes called strike through, redlining, change tracking, at multiple levels of the proof cycle. They needed to be able to split and sub large documents, chopping these documents into small sections so many operators can work at them at the same time. And they needed to be able to produce compliant comparison proofs at every stage. The output deliverables were PDF and MS Word readback, but they wanted to also retain some of the capabilities and future-proof the system for other standards that may come along or other requirements they needed to produce from the typesetting system. So initially, we looked at mirroring the existing implementation of 3B2 and our comparison engine that had been done before. Now this solution was based around a very old version 7 of the 3B2 system, and the comparison engine had been engineered around the inherent faults of that system and the evolved tag set and feature set that had been done. But we wanted to deliver better. We knew that we could deploy the latest technologies of APP, all the features that were implemented around financial typesetting that were not in this older version and not supported by this old tag set. We didn't want to just polish up an old version and deliver the same. We didn't want to compromise, so we had to manage the expectations of the budget, the customer, and the time in order to convince them to go for a new solution that would be better in every aspect and future-proof the system, hopefully, for another 30 years. So we came up with a workflow plan and the components that would be required for it to work. On the left-hand side, we have our partner product CC. Now within CC, we have numerous components. The first one is CT. Now this is a conversion tool, a docx processing and editing environment where you can pick and choose what you want to bring through, how you want it to look, and how you style up the content that you bring through, and clean up the document at the same time. The other component of CC is the CE, the comparison engine. This is a Java-based engine that will take two data inputs, produce an accurate comparison, and feed that back into APP for typesetting, both of which we'll look at later on in the presentation. APP is the interface for the operators to navigate and use these tool set and also compose their documents. As we can see on the right hand side, we have style sheets that input control the document, and all of the process for comparison and subbing is controlled through the customized user interface of APP. So it all starts with the data model. We had to make sure the data model and the tagging set that the operators were going to use to typeset these documents was focused on composition, on typesetting, for quick editing, for clean and simple entry, and it must have minimal tags. But we also had to make sure that this data set had enough structure to be useful, so it could drive the data, so it could drive complex tables and work with subbing. And it also had to be optimized for validation and comparison purposes. So the result was SML, a simple markup language that is non-XML but has structural definitions, has minimal tags, is driven primarily by attributes, and because it is validated by a comparison engine, it is automatically documented. The CT utility is a new application based on the latest Microsoft.NET platform. It doesn't use MS Word components for its conversion, and it was decided to embark on a new tool to replace the Word macro and VB based routine that used to take up to 20 minutes to convert. The output from docx is a succinct tagged markup language in two flavors, well-formed XML or our SML typesetting focus tag data. You can optionally control what is brought through from the Word document, right down to cell borders, to font sizes, to footnotes, to side notes. All of the components of the document are optional, include or remove. You can also map certain elements, so headers, for example, of a certain variety can be mapped to a certain tag. You can also simplify the output and clean up the output. So you can remove empty rows and merge financial data columns with currency symbol columns. Fix table alignment issues, which often result from a messy Word document that was created through cut and paste of lots of different Word documents, all automatically. You can extract headings and shoulder headings based on rules instead of mapping with the original Word document. All WMX EMF images are rendered as high quality PNG files. The SML, which is good for typesetters, can be edited within the application and changes validated before sending it for typesetting in APP. The SMX format of well-formed XML is easy to manipulate and import into other applications or transform for other purposes. The conversion is fast. 250 pages of standard financial content converts in 8 seconds. And the output is always validated to be consistent when it's fed into the pagination software. The CX option within CC now allows the full round trip from within the CC application. You can take the SMX or SML tag data format and along with the style control options for within CC, create a Word document based on this content. So round trip is now possible from CC. The CE or comparison engine component within CC validates the content and compares content. The validation and comparison is configurable. It validates the tags, their contexts, attributes and the values of those tags from within CC and also integrated into the APP environment. The comparison engine takes 2 valid SML inputs and generates an optimized and compare output for rendering in the custom APP template. The tag set is completely configurable and the compare rules and thresholds are configurable. This enables you to configure how you want the comparison to look. So if a paragraph, for example, has been made up of 80% of changes, you can optionally strike through the entire paragraph and insert a new one, so it is clearer to see what has changed. It is also integrated to run through APP or can be used inside the CC interface. The validation reports show you exactly what is wrong, and the integrated documentation will show you what is the valid option to have instead. Error node numbers allow you to quickly locate the error inside CC as well as APP to correct it. And now a short demonstration of these components. Here we have a sample Word document containing many of the elements that we might find in a financial document or any Word document. Tables, stylistics, footers, headings. Here we have some financial data. So this is the document we want to convert. So we can open this from the File menu or we can drag and drop it onto the CC application and it will convert this into our SML format. It's converted it and validated it at the same time. So we can edit within this application and change the markup if we wanted to insert something. For example, or if we had made a mistake. We miskeyed a tag or an attribute. We could pick up these errors through validation inside the application. This option here allows you to validate the content. And and it shows we have two errors. One of the errors is this attribute here is not recognized, it's not expected. This tab here shows the documentation and the attributes that are allowed on the para tag, so we can see exactly what we're allowed and what those values are. We can skip to the next error and we can see that this bad tag is an unknown tag, you're not allowed to use it. So before we can proceed, we have to correct these options, and here we have a node number. This node number can be used to locate the error. So we can go directly to the problem, remove it, and fix up the data inside this simple text editor. By doing this, it allows anyone to access, correct, and verify the data before it gets passed for typesetting. If we look at the options for conversion, we can see various things that we can either include or exclude when we bring the document through into our SML format, and how to include it. So what is an H2, what is it made up of, and how to map it to an H2 from the stylistic properties that have been applied in the Word document. It's not always marked up as a heading, and there might be other content within the document that's not been marked up correctly. So by this way, we can ensure as much of the content is brought through as possible as it's meant to be. In the program options, we have the choice of what we are converting to. This one was converted to SML. We can also convert to SMX. SMX is a XML version of our SML. The same tag set, except it is well formed. If we change part of this document, we can easily use this format to go back to Word. Incorporating all of the elements of this default style sheet that we have and the content of our SMX. If required, we can also perform comparisons from within CC. We can take the lowest and highest revision and make a comparison of that and see the text file format of what the compared data will look like. I want to show you that from within inside the typesetting application later. So we come on to the APP composition library. This library was created as a template library which is financially centric for financial typesetting. It is data driven, so we do not rely on the 3B2 document to contain pagination information, to contain layout information. All of this is driven from the data and enables us to be flexible and pass this data around, and especially for our subbing process. It had a flexible configuration, so we have an XML file where we can easily configure the style sheet for this document. It has manual control, but also automated components for pagination. Some of the custom components we've used are the entire workflow being driven from the APP interface, so the operators can control subbing, they can control black lining levels, cycle levels, validation and comparisons, all from within inside APP. So while developing the composition library, we had a goal of smarter templates. So we wanted to make use of all the available features inside the latest version of APP driven through our SML format. We have an XML control stream to control the global styles and also some of the feature switches on and off within inside the environment, so it's easy to change for the operators. Much of the preset page layouts are defined within the library environment and not by individual documents, but they're controlled by SML, so the operators can quickly change an attribute and get the entire layout changed to what they want. We tried to optimize the table setting. Tables are a very time-consuming area of financial documents, and we wanted to make sure all of the features that we could were available and easy to use for the operators. Global styles, column-specific styles, sub-color alignments, hash rules, and I'll show you some of those examples in a second. Customized Word output. This was originally done from the APP application using the JavaScript print control streams and is still in use today. The CC word output is an alternative option that we now have. Here we have an example of a financial table with a piece of everything in it. All sorts of different alignments that might be required, from overhangs to hash rules to currency alignment symbols to decimal alignments to special alignments of end dashes. Each control is easy to use either as a global style from the table or a column specific style from the table, row specific and cell specific. Another example is rules. We needed box rules around columns and cells and rows, individual rules, total rules. All of these are controlled through simple to use attributes where we turn things on and off at the designated start points and end points. So there's no drawing of rules, there's no coordinates to be inserted, there's no manual control required. It's just on and off, and the rest is automated. Subbing is a big area for this particular solution. Now, when we were looking at subbing during the specifications stage, we discovered there was a bug. Now, in version 11.0, the subbing system did not work properly and bring documents back together. So this project was on a tight deadline. We could not wait for a bug fix. And we did not want to jeopardize the project by telling the customer this particular feature wouldn't be available. So we looked at possible ways that we could create our own subbing system. It was not simple, but it was possible because of the toolbox and the nature of APP and the powerful features that you have that you can use. So we had to look at the process and the workflow of how an operator would want to split a large document and also remerge that document. What point would they be required to split that document, and also how would we retain information from the master document in the small sub files. We needed to retain folio information, repeat heads, running heads, current page layout, overflows, and also the multi-level black lining information into the sub files, any changes that happened in the sub files, and to back out into the main master file again. We needed a clean and easy to use user interface, and also fail-safe checking to make sure that the process was accurate, and at any stage, if there was any problem, the operator could go into the sub file, the master file, and make their changes. So this was successfully completed, and we were able to do this because of the toolbox that is APP, and it allowed us to provide a solution that actually worked better for the customer and this solution than the native APP subbing features, which are now fixed in version 11.2. So now I'd like to give you a short demonstration of the APP composition library and the integrated validation and comparison engine. Here I'm going to start a new document and I'm going to choose some sample data. Now this data has a little bit of everything inside it. It allows us to choose a document defaults, so essentially a style sheet for this document. And this contains lots of different components. Some of them summary section tables, multiple page overlapping, overrunning tables, nested tables, running heads, lots of different things in here. Taking a look at just some of the features, we have a simple XML control file where you can change typographic properties, and also features within the template are easily controlled by the operators through this XML file. Validating your content inside APP is also easy. If we add an attribute here, on the toolbar we have a validation option. With the integrated comparison engine, we can see we have an error, and we can see that it tells us exactly what this error is and the node number it is. And again, we have the documentation to refer to. So if I want to go to node number 13 and correct my error, I can use the similar tool to go to this point, and I can easily see that this attribute is incorrect. So if within inside the typesetting environment, we can validate our content to make sure that the comparisons are going to be accurate. So there are many features that are used within inside this composition library, and if we wanted a deeper demo, please contact us and we can look at all of the aspects that are relevant to you and are interesting to you. But for this demonstration, I would like to just show you the comparison process and how that has been integrated into the APP typesetting environment. So I'm going to reopen this document and I'm going to turn on the black lining level, number 1. Here we can see we have 2 folders. Black lining level 0, this was our original document. Black lining level 1, this is our new revision level. I'm going to make some changes to this document, and you can see those changes are being marked. I'm going to create some larger changes here. I'm going to go down and make some other changes within tables as well. This will give us a decent sample to look at when we run the compare. Obviously, this would normally be much more extensive changes than this. So when we save this document, we should also validate it. I know I have not made any mistakes, but we can check that as well. So now we are ready to compare this version of the document with the original version. If I run the comparison engine, turn the compare mode on, I'm going to compare it against the original. You can optionally choose to compare it against different levels, but here we are just comparing against the original. So what that's going to do is run the comparison engine and write out the result of those 2 documents. If I look in our folder here, we have a compare folder, and it shows you this is level 0 and 1. If I open that inside APP, it is open the document in a special compare mode. So it also shows the sidebars, but also with the strike through and the underline for any inserts and deletes. So if we look through the document, we can see exactly what has changed, and we can see those changes in all of the different contexts and different situations where they have taken place. Now obviously these changes are quite light. If you're making extensive changes, huge changes, especially with inside tables, and you want to show what's been deleted and inserted, it's going to double the size of your table, almost duplicate it. So we have to have special modes to allow the table to accommodate this, to flex and stretch, and not be too restricted to display the content in a legible and clear way. After 6 very short months of intensive development, 24/7 working hours, highs and lows, widening scope, broken features, but close understanding and working relationships with the team at Merrill, the project was ready for delivery, for on-site training to the London and India teams. The initial delivery was made on time and on budget, and after a period of parallel production and optimization, live production started early in 2017. This statement from the Operations Director at Toppan Merrill illustrates the benefits the customers achieved with this new system, and it's helped to re-establish them as a leading provider to the UKLA and German BaFin for comparison typeset documents in the financial print industry. Thank you for listening to the presentation and short demo today. If you would like any more information about any of the components, the features, or the solution that was demonstrated today, please contact us at tformat.com. Thank you.